Good evening. What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing this evening? Oh, man. If you up north, well, it's got to be so depressing. I'm up north right now. It's so depressing. Man, all this snow. Whew. Man. It ain't. Whew. I didn't know if I was going to make it on. I just want to roll up in a cover and just don't get up. But I'm here. I'm here. I'm glad to be here with you guys. How's everybody doing this evening? We in the building. We got to talk. We had championship games. We had a thriller. We had an ugly one, but we had games nonetheless. So, uh, know you guys saw the thumbnail. Um, hey, Sam Darnold. We gonna just start there. We'll get into everything else, but we got to talk about Sam Darnold, and we got to give my man his just due. He on a mission. He is on a mission. Um, I gotta go pull up his numbers. I mean, this is. I just got to make sure because I don't want to do him a disservice, right? Got to go pull up his numbers from that game. Uh, 3 touchdowns. What else did he do? Let me see. Let me see here. He let's see what he did. He did why they acting like I can't find the stats? Yeah, he went he threw 3 touchdown passes, threw for 346, almost 70% completion. I mean, he was hitting Jackson Smith and Jigba on ropes. He was hitting them on ropes last night. Dude was slinging that ball all over the place. And I think it goes to a deeper meaning for me, and it should for a lot of other people too. And this could be from the human aspect. This could be from sports aspect. Like sports is a microcosm of life. That's how the saying goes because a lot of sports adjectives and things of that nature they fit right into your life cycle. You know, adversity, all these things. And if you see the covers say redemption. And when you look at that and you see that Sam Darnold was the number two pick in that draft, him and Baker Mayfield, both of those guys were left for dead. They were left for dead. Not to be thought of as nothing more than backups, you know, at a point. I remember I did a video. This is when we had the slant page going up before it switched some things and we switched some things around. I made a video and I had, if you guys are familiar with Super Mario World on Super Nintendo, and I had in the intro of the video, Bowser, one of Bowser's castles. You remember how the ghosts used to chase you, and then you turn around, and they stop, and all of that other stuff, and all the music or whatever. I had that because Sam Darnold made a headline that he was seeing ghosts, and you know, when you hear a quarterback say that, and at that time, Belichick was in New England. I think that was the game they played New England. And he was so confused and he was so rattled. And you could just see it plain as day on his face. And I mean, his coordinator at the time was Adam Gase. And where's Adam Gase right now? We don't know, right? So to say all of that is he had a turbulent time. He went through a lot of adversity. A lot of people gave up on Sam Darnold. A lot of people really didn't even believe Sam Darnold was supposed to be the number two pick that year. They felt like Sam Darnold was okay, but he was not worthy of the number two pick. And listen, you know, his body of work has showed that. But he didn't give up on himself. He had, you know, he put himself in spots. He was humble about it. He learned and he learned. And then he went to had to run in Carolina, you know, sat for a minute. Him and Baker Mayfield was together. You know what I mean? People wouldn't even believe that two of your top 10, top 15 quarterbacks were on the same team together. You know, that in itself is crazy. And when you look at Baker, even though Baker ended up having a down year, but he started off on fire before the injury and everything else. Um, Baker was looking like an MVP early on. And Sam Darnold has put together 2 years straight of 14 game winning seasons. Let's see if I can pull up the picture. Let me see here. You know me, I always like to add some context to what we talking about. And let me see. Right here, these guys were on the same team together, fighting for a starting job, pretty much to a Panthers team that wasn't doing anything. You know, this was before the Bryce Young, CJ Stroud draft. They were just taking a shot on two guys that wasn't getting paid much. You know, let's just see if we can get something out of them. And, you know, they both didn't look really good down there in Carolina to the point they said, hey, we got to go get somebody else. Bryce Young will be our guy. You know, these aren't even reclamation projects. We just need some guys down here to fill the position uh, for now. You know what I mean? And that's how they were looked at. And Baker goes to the Rams. I can't remember where Sam went, but he ended up landing in Minnesota. Get with Kevin O'Connell. I know a guy personally who was high on Sam Darnold. Said Sam Darnold because he's a Jets fan. So he had, like he was ingrained in what those guys do on a regular. And he said Sam Darnold was done so wrong in New York at the time, just a dysfunctional organization, which they are now. Coincidentally, these two guys on the screen both come from this functional organization. That one right there, the New York Jets. That one on the other side, the Cleveland Browns. And both of these guys go on to be franchise quarterbacks. Meanwhile, the teams that drafted both of these guys are still without quarterbacks. Go figure, right? And I said, even when he went to Minnesota, I said, I thought it'd be a decent fit because I wasn't high on McCarthy. I said, okay, it'll be a decent fit. I know that Kevin O'Connell is going to put on the training wheels and he's going to put these guys, he got good weapons around him. You got Addison, you got JJ over there, Hawkinson. It's so many weapons around him. Just really don't screw it up. And he did a good job over there. I mean, he was on pace to throw for like 40 touchdowns that year. And, he flamed out in the playoffs and everybody said, oh, here we go. This is the typical Sam Darnold. But he had made a lot of strides in this game. But the first thing I even said, too, was he's in that system. They got training wheels on him. It really makes him look good. I want to see. Well, one, I was surprised that Minnesota didn't bring him back. Minnesota's arrogance got in the way right there. Minnesota's arrogance got in the way of them bringing him back. They feel like Kevin O'Connell, quarterback whisperer. I agree with that too. They drafted J.J. McCarthy. Hey, we can do the same thing that Sam Darnold is doing with our younger guy that we're not paying a lot of money to. Okay, fine. Sam goes to Seattle. I'm like, I'm worried for Sam. I really like him as a person. I think he's somebody who is somebody who pays attention, wants to win, wants to learn the game. And even if you watched him with his speech for the NFC Championship game, he was excited. I don't know if he was overjoyed to the point where he was kind of in a state of shock when he was talking to the press. But he was so reserved and calm in the way he handled it because he knew that this was a road long travel, for lack of better words. And, to get back to the point, he goes to Seattle and, he's with Clint Kubiak, but that offense isn't the same as when he was with Kevin O'Connell. Kind of different offenses. I said, oh, there's no way he's going to be able to duplicate what he did in Minnesota. There's no way possible that he's going to be able to do that. Now, he has a chance to go win a Super Bowl. And he was the main reason. I made a video a couple weeks ago when he played the Rams in the regular season. I said this was the coming of age game for Sam Darnold. When he went blow for blow with the Rams, that game that went into overtime. He had threw a pick or whatever. I think he had threw a pick in that game, shrugged the pick off, just said, no big deal. I'm going to go back down the field. I'm going to get my team in position to win this game. And he did. I said that was the coming of age moment for Sam Darnold. And he went head to head in a duel with probably arguably the best quarterback in the NFL at this point, Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford That dude is. It ain't enough respect on his name. I'm serious. I know when he got to Detroit, when he first was in Detroit, he never could get to those spaces, and he had Megatron and all those guys, and they just could never get over that hump or whatever the case may be. And he was looked at as a guy who had empty calories. He could do all the things, but he could never win games. That dude, Matthew Stafford, is elite. Elite. The passes, the throwing windows he was throwing through, and he got eyes in the back of his head. And I mean, you're never out of a game with Matt at all. I mean, the things he do is unbelievable. And for Sam Darnold to not falter under pressure when Reek Woodland on that 3rd and 12 or 3rd and 15 got those guys, could have been off the field, and he had that bonehead penalty. Matt Stafford gets the ball back, a new set of downs, go down the field, doot, 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 touchdown. Sam Darnold, cool. Okay. Go right back to work. Making beautiful throws. Jake Bobo, that throw over the middle in the end zone of Jake Bobo, just darts. He's just throwing them all over the place. And then him and the relationship he got with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Holy smokes. And I mean, he just distributing the ball everywhere. He know where his main man at JSN. He gonna make sure he get the ball. He gonna make sure he eat. But he distributing the ball all over the place. And I saw a former football player who, I'm gonna be honest, don't know what the hell he talking about. He ain't even getting no run on my show, and I don't even get that many viewers. That's just to tell you, when we over here and we don't do no clout chasing. If I feel like it needs to be said, I'll say it. But he ain't even getting no run over here, and we ain't got that many people watching. Because I think certain people just say certain things just to be heard and hope it gets them some traction. I think you wasting your time just, speak on what you see with your eyes versus what you think the viewer may hear just to get engagement. I think that's corny. But Chris Shula, who was a top head coach candidate, puts out a good defense in that Rams defense. And that Rams defense just could not stop what Sam Darnold and that offense was doing. And that running game, that Seattle running game was not clicking like that last night. Kenneth Walker had some good runs, but for the most part, it was consistent, but they wasn't gashing them. They really wanted Sam Darnold to beat them. And that was the game plan. You could tell that Chris Shula said, okay, we're going to make Sam Darnold beat us. There's no way we're going to let these running backs get off. And then opened up the game and let it be easy for Sam. That didn't happen. They kind of swallowed up that run a little bit. When no Zach Charbonnet, so it was just Kenneth Walker. And, they got that tandem running back thing going, and it went there. So Sam Darnold had to be that guy. And Sam Darnold was that guy. He won a duo with Matt Stafford. Literally the best gunslinger in football. Period. He's the best gunslinger in football. And that's what he got. And he got a duo. Matt Stafford threw for 370 something. I mean, that dude's just a world beater. But Sam Darnold was going blow for blow with him. He's evolved. His game has evolved. And we're 2 weeks away from the Super Bowl, so I'm not going to give any predictions here and anything like that. I'll say this. It's Sam Darnold's Super Bowl to lose. But for him to get to this point from being considered a bust, you know, to being a guy who was just going to be a great backup, you can get something out of him. That's one thing. But it's a whole nother thing when you possibly looking at being a Super Bowl champion and a possible Super Bowl MVP. That's a whole nother thing. Congrats to Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks for winning the NFC. Well deserved. Uh, Sam's just getting better with time, and he's coming into his prime. And that goes to show you guys something that is really something that we need to talk about, and that's quarterback development, especially the quarterback system, the quarterbacks that we got right now, the quarterbacks that are coming in. Because everybody's not high on this draft or whatever the case may be. You're seeing guys that are number one picks that they said were can't miss when they came out, going to these organizations that cannot develop and have infrastructure around these guys coming in, and then they flame out. And then they're going somewhere else 2, 3, 4 years later, and they're having a resurrection. They're having a 2.0 moment. So if you're getting these guys and you're getting them in the building and you don't have the right infrastructure, do not start these guys right away. Because, yes, I know every year you have to draft what you need, but especially at that quarterback's position, you have to babysit that position. If you have these guys that aren't ready, go get a veteran quarterback that's got some pedigree about them. They don't have to be Super Bowl champions. They don't have to be anything like that. Just be good mentors to these young guys because these young guys need that mentorship. They need to know how to go through the reads, the do's and the don'ts, how to carry themselves like professionals. All these things matter, especially with a quarterback. Would you make an inexperienced Army soldier a general? Because every one of them ain't ready to go do that. That's impossible. And when you got franchises like the Jets and the Browns and some other franchises, if you're not equipped for these guys, please make sure you do the best you can and put a veteran that they will respect in front of them. That matters. That matters because what we're seeing right now is all these quarterbacks are having these 2.0 moments. You invested in these quarterbacks. You get rid of them. Then they go somewhere else and then they having this revitalization. And you're still left holding the bag when you drafted this quarterback 3 or 4 years ago and you still don't have one. Baker Mayfield was in the MVP conversation. Been to a playoff game. He's a franchise QB now. Now Sam Darnold's a franchise QB. And if you're the Vikings, you really got to look at this situation now and say, damn, we paid Justin Jefferson. Jordan Addison will probably be up for a contract now. I don't know what they going to do with Jordan Addison because he's staying in trouble. I don't know what's going on with him, but they're going to have to get him straight. But that team is a win-now team. And that team faltered this year because they let their potential franchise quarterback walk out the building for a maybe. This is why if you go watch my video that I did on the NFL awards, I gave John Snyder the GM of the year because he was able to flip Geno Smith, Geno Smith, who hadn't played bad, he didn't play bad for the Seattle Seahawks. But he said that we feel like we could do one better. Traded Geno for a third round pick. So you got some extra draft capital. Brought Sam Darnold in on like what, $30 to $35 million a year for what, 3 years, I think. And now you're in the Super Bowl. If that's not GM of the year stuff, I don't know what is, because now you got a contract, a quarterback that is on half the contract of what Dak Prescott got. Let that sink in. You got a guy now, you have this guy now where you can keep adding pieces around him. They have money to continue to keep adding pieces because your quarterback is not taking 25% of the cap space up. All of this is a big deal. So let's just say they don't get the job done this year. They're going to be able to reload that team faster than you can say hot you. They have a good squad, a really good squad, and all they got to do is keep building on it. I mean, they traded DK Metcalf. They got a second round pick for him. I mean, they reloaded this roster on the fly and made moves where you thought that you would say, hey, they're going to be in the running for about the 10th overall pick. We don't know what the Rams going to be. But they're kind of like hedging their bet to move on to the future. And the future started early. So, again, congratulations to Sam Darnold. Congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks. Listen, adversity is a real thing. And if you don't go through no adversity, you'll never get nowhere in life. Period. Everything isn't going to always be what you want it to be. And that's just real. It's never going to be what you want it to be. But it's what you do with it and how you figure out things and how you learn from it. And that's what Sam Darnold did. So, a round of applause to Sam Darnold. Uh, Want to see where he goes. Um, how much further can his game go? Because he on one right now. He on one right now. He a man on a mission. So we go jump into the next thing. Uh, so we got to talk about the Browns. We go ahead and get into the head coaching because this is still going on. So the Browns uh, they still have a dark horse guy that is still in the running. Now, I was going to actually put out a report about Nate Shieldhouse. The Browns met with him today at L.A. after the loss. Um, I was, we all was certain that Nate Shieldhouse is their guy completely. He signed on the dotted line. It's over. They just need to announce it tomorrow, and it may still happen. But Todd Monken has entered the chat. Todd Monken was with the Browns. I think the year Baker was there with Freddie Kitchens. If I'm not mistaken, that's when he was there. And he was the play caller then. Then he went to Georgia. Won the national title down there, everything else and all that other stuff. Then he went to Baltimore. He had been with Lamar for a while. And now he is being looked at as a head coaching candidate. Honestly, I didn't see it coming. Honestly, thought he was going to go with Jackson Dart and John Harbaugh over there in New York, and maybe he still do if he doesn't get the job. But he's been put into play. So the Browns are looking at Todd Bucket and they're looking at Nate Shieldhouse, and it's the Browns Browning. I think we heard about. I don't know if we talked about it on the channel, but they brought in. They had a criteria. That's what I'm trying to say. They had a criteria for the coaches where they had to fill out an essay and all of this other nonsense. Now, some people kind of debunked it and said it wasn't true, but the Browns is a different organization. They do things a little bit different than everybody else, hence the results. Uh, and I don't know. Like, I'll be honest. The Browns, they may luck into a coach. I thought Jim Schwartz was probably going to be that guy, but what it's looking like is they pretty much, whoever these guys that they've come down to nominating for getting his head coaching position, it sounds like they're pretty much telling them, hey, Jim Schwartz is a part of the package. That's pretty much what they're saying. So Greg Udinski, he bowed out, took his name out of the search or whatever the case may be. I think he's going back to Jacksonville for another year. You know, the Browns they're a dysfunctional bunch. Uh, we heard what Jimmy Hassel said. He feels like they're not dysfunctional. That's dysfunctional. Where you don't get results and there's always something goofy going on, and for you to come out and say it ain't dysfunctional, you're dysfunctional. But he's trying. One thing about Jimmy, he gonna spend a whole bunch of money to try to right the wrongs. At some point, they got to get this right. Browns got to get it right. I think Nate Shieldhouse is a brilliant mind. He comes off the McVay tree. He was the quarterback at where was he the quarterback at? Iowa State. I think it was the Iowa State back in the day. I think that was like 2013 or 14. He was the quarterback for them. Then once he came out, I think he was doing some coordinating in college because I think he had a bad knee injury or something of that nature. And so he's been making his bones through the leagues, college and the NFL. So he's no pup in this game. He's definitely cut his teeth, and I think he could really be a good head coach. Now, what I do wonder is, it does he believe in Shador, or does he feel like they then need to go draft a QB? Does he feel like he can work with Shador? And that's another thing. Whoever this head coach is, do they believe in what they have in the room? So, it's a lot of questions. It's the Browns. I don't know what else to say. It's the Browns. They do things completely different, and it is what it is. It is what it is with the Browns, but we'll see what they do. This is their shtick. You know, really not really having a beat on exactly what they want to do with anything from the quarterback position. They want to have 12 quarterbacks in camp to making the coaches do essays. I don't know. I don't know. But we're going to jump into the next subject. I did a video on this. Well, not a video. I actually did a short on this. So if you guys, make sure you guys are checking the feeds because we put out shorts when we're not live, videos, all of that stuff. I gave my thoughts also on the Pittsburgh Steelers hire of Mike McCarthy. I gave my thoughts on that, so you guys go check out that video. Um, I go deep diving. You know how I do. I go deep diving on everything. So you're not going to just get some like one line take and like some Captain Obvious stuff. You're going to get a whole meal for me. So Um, so we got to talk about Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's market has heated up. And it was according to the sources that ESPN. Let me make sure I got it on my phone. Let's see if I can pull it up. Let's see here. Let's see here. And make sure you guys, if you're coming in, in and out, hey, just hit the like button for me. It helps me a lot. If you got friends who love football, uh, love all the off-season stuff, this is the place to be. This is the place to be. We small, but we mighty. We gonna do a lot of stuff coming up. And as you can see, what we're doing, uh, just dropped the Josh Allen mini series trailer. So go check that out. We got a lot of stuff going on this channel and some other things that are about to pop up. So be on the lookout. Be on the lookout because we're coming. We're coming for real. So I'll have some guests on too. Um, Probably Wednesday, I'll have somebody come pop into the live. We got some things to talk about. Got some interviews coming up. All season gonna be busy. This is where you want to be at. Dino's and the other branches that we got growing, you're going to see. This is gonna be the place to be. This ain't just I ain't just a YouTuber. So, you know, but let's get into the Kyler Murray thing though. Not to lose track on what I was talking about here. But let me bring it up real quick. So this is according to ESPN's Josh Weinfuss. Um, Multiple sources have said this is executives that Josh has talked to. How Kyler Murray's stock is going through the roof because Dante Moore went back to school. And now a lot of these guys aren't certain on these quarterbacks that are coming out outside of Fernando Mendoza, who a lot of people feel like isn't a slam dunk himself. They feel like he was just the best out of the position. And, guys are getting desperate. And they were talking about how Kyler Murray was literally in a position where Kyler Murray could have been released, or you could have gave the Cardinals a fourth round pick and they would have worked out the money some way, somehow. And, you could have had Kyler Murray. Now that all these quarterbacks have went back to school, especially Dante Moore, now teams are starting to value Kyler Murray, which means his stock goes up. So now they're looking for a first or second round pick for him. And, you know, uh, he got a hefty contract. He has a hefty contract. And teams are ready to pay. And you got to think about teams again, like the Pittsburgh Steelers don't have a quarterback. The Cleveland Browns don't have a quarterback. The Las Vegas Raiders don't have a quarterback. You know, is Kyler Murray going to be that one domino piece that comes in and kind of shakes up things this offseason? I don't know, but the price just went up, and yesterday's price is not today's price, and that's where we're at with that. So, got to think about the teams that are quarterback needy, and is it worth getting Kyler Murray, who health has been in question the last couple years? Never has really taken a team. Has he been to the playoffs? I want to say maybe he's got 1 year in the playoffs, but definitely hasn't worked at Arizona. I don't know if Arizona wants to do a full on reset or do they believe maybe they can bring Kyler Murray back. But more than likely he is on the trade block and they probably could get a first or second round pick for him or a second and a fourth that they're saying. So we'll see how that goes. I thought he was definitely going to get Russell Wilson to be a candidate for a release where the Cardinals pick up that money and the team can sign him for the veteran minimum. But I don't know. You know, we're going to keep looking into that as it goes along, and we'll see what happens with that whole situation. Uh, next situation, next thing that we need to talk about. Oh, we got to talk about this Cooper Cup situation. So let's talk about that. Let me bring it up. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. I know this weather is bumming a lot of people out. So let's see here. Give me 1 second here. Let's see. Yeah, I think this was a crazy story right here. I think Mike Silver wrote it. Let me see. Let's see here. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Close this out. Add it to the screen. The article goes after the Rams discarded the Super Bowl MVP, he showed them everything he still offers. So, so basically, the Rams threw him away. The Rams threw him away, and they didn't want Cooper Cup. They thought Cooper Cup had gotten older and got slower. Remember, they got rid of him for. And we'll pull the article down. What we'll do is we'll actually. I'll say go read the article over there because it's a very big article. But basically, the Rams had got rid of Cooper Cup. It felt like Cooper Cup was old and washed. Got rid of him for Devontae Adams. No one wanted him. He actually even said that the Rams tried to devalue him to other teams, so the relationship was not good. And Cooper Cup that second half was carving up that Rams defense. Cooper gonna run some routes. He was routing them boys up. So I just think that's a terrible situation, and I don't like the Rams organization. And I don't know how exactly true it is or not true or whatever the case may be. But um, Cooper Cup helped win you guys a Super Bowl. And for whatever reason, whether they wanted him to take a pay cut or he didn't want to take a pay cut, to talk bad about him and kick him in the butt on the way out of the door is crazy. And then try to devalue him to the rest of the league. I just don't think it's a good look, to be honest. Cooper Cup is one of my favorite players in this generation of players. Goes about his business. He's tough. Uh, before all the injuries, he had sneakily elite speed. But his route running has always been the thing, coming out of Washington State. It's really just been about his injuries for the most part. And, he felt like the Rams did him wrong. And, he got the last laugh on him. And Like I said, I hope that's not the case with Les Snead and those guys over there. Like I said, I've never heard anything bad about those guys. But, karma come back to bite you. Cooper Cup was a big part of why they won last night. And then he beat you to go back to the Super Bowl again. Now, if he goes to finish the job, and he's a big part of what they're doing, and you know he's going to be a big part of what they're doing when you got Jackson Smith and Jigba flying all over the place. He's going to have one-on-one matches, and he more likely he's going to beat the guy that's on him. Christian Gonzalez is probably going to travel with Jackson Smith and Jigba as much as he can. What you think Cooper Cup gonna be doing? He gonna be eating. And that Patriots defense ain't that Rams defense. They can't put pressure on people. We'll talk about that more. Because we got a whole 2 weeks to talk about that. But they don't put the pressure on like, the Rams do. New England play a community defense. And if you go let Sam Darnold sit back there for 5 minutes and survey the field, they're going to carve them up. So, New England is going to have to come with a game plan. But Cooper Cup is going to be a beneficiary of said game plan. And I just wonder, what the Rams are going to be thinking if this dude goes for like $110 and like 2 touchdowns. The same guy y'all let go contributed to winning another Super Bowl in y'all's division, knocked y'all out, and then won another one. Man, that's got to be tough. It's got to be a tough situation. So, like I said, the story. Go check out the story. Um, it was an awesome piece. I read a lot of it, and I was just like, wow. The inner workings is real. They definitely discarded him according to the story, and he getting the last laugh. And I just think, sometimes it's called poetic justice for a reason. So uh, we gonna go into the next bit of news. Let's see here real quick. Let's see here. Oh yeah. And another thing, the Rams urged Cooper Cup to retire too. That's a whole nother thing. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that didn't sit well with Mr. Cup. That did not sit well with him. So yeah. So did he have that fire burning in his belly? I bet you he did. I bet you he did. So we gonna go into one more story, and I think we gonna cut this one kind of short tonight because we got a lot of stuff going on. We got videos, all types of stuff uh, going up. Gonna probably get the first episode of the documentary. Listen, guys, if you're in here, go check out the trailer that we put together. It's called Windows and Wait, the Josh Allen era. We got a documentary mini series going on. I'm telling you, when you see this, it's just gonna bring so much perspective. It's not what you think. That's all I can tell you. If you into a documentary, especially with the weather being like this, it seemed like over this next week or two, first episode will be coming out here in the next couple of days. If you're a fan of, just using your head a little bit, things of that nature, you're going to enjoy this. You're going to enjoy this. You part of Bills Mafia, the Bills fans. Check this out. I'm telling you. Go check the trailer out. The trailer is on the channel. Um, Even put the trailer on TikTok. You know what? I need to put a trailer on the shorts too. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. I haven't even done that, but I will do that. So to get you guys up to speed on what we're doing, and all the stuff that comes with. I'm telling you, better get on this bandwagon early because we ain't gonna have no room. No, I'm talking. I'm talking. I'm talking. But I appreciate you guys if you go check it out and all that other stuff. So let's get into the Philadelphia Eagles. Haven't talked about them in a while. This year, it seems like anytime I talk about them, it's not really the greatest thing going on. But a lot of OCs have turned this job down. They're going other ways. Mike McDaniel was one of the candidates at one point. Of course, he went to the Chargers, and he might still be in line for the head coaching job somewhere. Raiders. So that may be a thing there sometime soon with the Raiders and McDaniel. But he turned down that OC job and went elsewhere. Um, what's the guy's name? Declan Doyle. He backed out of the job. Had an opportunity to move up and be the OC for the Eagles. He said, "I'd rather stay put in Chicago." As I think, what is he over there? He is a pass game coordinator or quarterbacks coach over there, and he didn't want the job. So now the Eagles have turned their sights to Gerard Johnson of the Houston Texans. I think he's the quarterback coach over there, and they're looking at him. Brian Dable is still on the list. I think he's their number one guy. I think he's their number one guy. If Brian Dable don't somehow, some way land back with Josh Allen in Buffalo, so we'll see what happens with that whole situation. But the Eagles having a hard time getting a coordinator, and I'm going to tell the truth. You know why they're having a hard time. We ain't got to act stupid. We know why they're having a hard time getting a coordinator. Now, we talked about an Eagles franchise who's been to 2 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. 3 in the last, what, 7? They won 2 and lost 1. And they're having a hard time landing an offensive coordinator where you got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley, pretty good offensive line. You got a defense that's probably a top 3 defense in the league, but yet they can't find an offensive coordinator. Would someone like to guess why they can't find an offensive coordinator? Nobody? Nobody? Okay, let me say why they can't find an offensive coordinator. Because they have a quarterback named Jalen Hurts. And see, don't nobody want to tell the real truth. But I gotta tell it. So much smoke and mirrors went on in that offense when Kellen Moore was here. I mean, like I said, it was the perfect storm. You had the best offensive line in football. You had a running back that was hungry coming out of the Giants organization who had won anything. These guys were hungry. That team was just a team of destiny. And Jalen Hurts did everything right. He really did. He did everything right to make that boat work for that Super Bowl run. Now the target's on your back. Teams dissected everything you guys did to win that Super Bowl. Now that won't work anymore. Now some pieces have been changed. So now you got to adjust. He can't adjust. Just is what it is. He got paid like an elite quarterback. He did some elite things. He did enough to win a championship. That rewarded him a very massive contract. But in reality, he's not an elite quarterback. And all these offensive coordinators that has been looking to look into that position, looked at the situation and looked at the landscape, probably talked to a Kevin Patullo or whoever else that's close to Kevin Patullo when these reports were coming out about they only can do what Jalen is capable of handling. They're looking at this job like it's a red flag. Why would Mike McDaniel want to why would Mike McDaniel want to come to Cleveland? I mean to Cleveland. Why would Mike McDaniel want to go to Philadelphia? Where he just lost his job in Miami. Pretty much for sticking with Tua Tagovailoa to go to Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts. They're like one and the same almost. I argue that Jalen Hurts can't process the field better than Tua can. So, when we having this conversation about why the Eagles, a team that's set up to win for the next 4 years, don't have an offensive coordinator, that's your answer. They don't have an offensive coordinator because of the quarterback they got. The quarterback is limited. It's just what it is. No hate to him. He's just a limited quarterback. And he can't adjust. He can't adapt to what he's seeing with his eyes. And the Eagles are in a position where they made this guy the front face of the team because it's a lot of business that go along with it. But please believe if Jalen Hurts tears a pinky nail, they're going to try to put him on the shelf for a couple weeks next year because they're going to want to see what the other guy behind him looks like with a real offensive coordinator. Who's going to want that job when Kevin Patullo was harassed, bullied, threats on his life? Who's going to want that job? Not saying Kevin Patullo was Sean McVay or anybody like that, but we never got to really see who he was because he's dealing with a limited guy. Well, he can't call plays. No, he's not Kellen Moore. Not the same Kellen Moore when he went to Boise State was a savant. He's just a savant even from when he played quarterback. He just didn't make it. But when he went to Dallas, Dallas had one of the best offenses in the league. When he went to the Chargers, they had a high flying offense. And when he went to the Eagles, they had a high flying offense. So you can't expect Kevin Patullo at that time to be what Kellen Moore was. They had him, head coach. Shane Steichen, head coach. That was the best two offensive coordinators. And these guys were so good that they went on to be head coaches the next year. So no average quarterback, average offensive coordinator can come in and make Jalen Hurts better than what he is. That's just what it is. Not no average run of the mill coordinator who can put you at about 15 to 18 as far as offense goes, offensive ranking goes, can help Jalen Hurts. They're going to have to be a top tier coordinator to create smoke and mirrors for Jalen Hurts to really succeed. Or you're going to have a hell of a running game. It's going to be one of the two. It's just what it is. He's not that guy. He just don't process the field that well. That's just what it is. So you have to build around him. And it's going to take somebody very special to do so. That's it. So everybody's looking around and trying to figure out why no one's taking that position because they don't want that dead weight on their back. That may be the last time they get an offensive coordinator job. Now you had two coordinators that have come in and was fired: Brian Johnson and then Kevin Patullo. Now if these guys go somewhere else and rebuild their names, and they start to be looked at as head coaching candidates a couple years down the road, that's going to tell you everything you need to know. We talked about it before. The Eagles behind the scenes knows what's going on. They know what's going on. Hopefully they can get Brian Dable. Here's why. Because I think Brian Dable had to learn a hard lesson with the New York Giants. That he got to calm the temper down and he's got to learn how to be a leader of men. What I mean by that is you can't go off on guys every time they do something wrong, but you can set a standard. Let's say Brian Dable does take this job, right? And he's putting things together. Because one thing we know about Brian, he can call an offense, right? He probably could be the only one that could really get something out of Jalen Hurts in this coaching cycle right now. Because he's going to use them to run a little bit. He's going to use them to throw a little bit. You know, probably come up with some pretty cool concepts that Jalen could hold on to. But he's also positioning himself if Nick Sirianni falls apart next year, halfway through the season, and he's lost his team like I felt like he lost it last year. Then he can take the position and become that interim head coach and try to take this team the rest of the way and maybe have a chance to take over that job. Just my thoughts. I could be totally wrong, but if I'm Brian Dable, I would take that job because me personally, Nick Sirianni's job isn't safe. We all know Jeffrey Lurie will pull the plug. If he don't like what's going on, he will pull the plug. So if I'm Brian Dable, somebody like a Brian Dable who has had a head coaching job and he has the experience of being an offensive coordinator and all those things, I would take that job because I know I may have a chance to be the head coach of a franchise who's been running things the last 10 years outside of the Chiefs. Like I say, 3 Super Bowls in 7, 8 years. They've been a really good team outside of the Chiefs. So I would put myself in position to get that job too. But any other offensive coordinator who's young and up and coming, I'm definitely not hitching my wagon to Jalen Hurts. I can't do it. I can't do it. It ain't worth it. Because if it was any other quarterback that they feel like was ascending, even if that quarterback went there, they would be running in to come coach him. because the quarterback has some room for growth and the organization is stable like the Philadelphia Eagles. Now they got everything else, but don't nobody really want to touch that job. I'm telling you, Jalen Hurts is going to have to come in a new dude in order for people to really respect what he's doing and coordinators to want to touch that position, to want that coaching position. But it's a telltale sign. And I know people don't want to talk about it, but over here, I'm going to tell you the truth. You ain't got to like it, but you can learn to live with it. He's just not that guy. And the Eagles, they in trouble. So, like I said, hopefully they land Brian Dable. Because everybody else is going to be an afterthought. We'll see. So, that's all I got for you guys tonight. We did about an hour and 5 or 6 minutes. Just wanted to come in, stop by, talk with you guys. We got a lot of stuff coming up. If you guys are into all the draft stuff, trying to see who's going to be the next big deal here and there, we got a lot of people coming on. A lot of people coming on. So make sure you guys are subscribing, sharing the page. It helps us a lot. It helps us grow this channel. We're trying to be a huge community. Like I said, I want to get you guys in here where we grow this thing. We can get the first. It's time to start making goals here. We need to get this show over. We're going to start with a realistic goal. We're going to get this show to about 50 concurrent viewers. That's the goal. We want to get this show to about 50 concurrent viewers. And what we'll do then is we'll open up to Discord, which means you guys will then be a part of the show. Because what I mean by that is you guys can give input on the next show. You also will be able to leave messages. If you can't, leave it in the Discord or whatever the case may be, we'll have a line where you guys can leave a message and I'll play it on the show and respond to the message. So it's some things that we can do that I would love to do. But we got to grow this show. Like I said, simple things like subscribe, share the page. It helps us a lot. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, seriously, like if you're out here, y'all football heads and football nerds like myself, tell somebody because we need to wake up this channel and we're going to wake up this community and let them know that we are here and we ain't going nowhere. So I appreciate you guys stopping by tonight, checking me out, checking out D-Nodes and everything else we got going on. Like I said, we got the trailer, Windows and Wait, Josh Allen era. It's going to be a good series. So go check out the trailer. Hit the notification bell. Make sure you guys are hitting the notification. Follow all the socials. All the socials are active and they are rolling. And until we do this again, everybody be safe out here. Like I said, I know the weather pretty much everywhere is a mess. So be safe. Hang out with your family. Relax. And we'll do this again Wednesday. I think I got a guest coming on Wednesday. We're going to talk some NFL drafts. So we got some stuff coming up, a whole bunch of stuff. So you guys be easy. And I will see you Wednesday. To the next one. Peace. Y'all be cool.